What's good, everybody? In this video, I'm going to break down the rules to multiplying matrices and how to know when we can multiply them and the new dimensions for the matrix that we create. So for us to understand this, we need to know when we can multiply two matrices together. And for us to know this, we have to know that the columns from the first matrix has to match the rows from the second matrix. So when we look at these examples, my advice is always to write out the dimensions. So in matrix A in black, we have 3 rows, 3 columns. And then for matrix B, we have 2 rows, 2 columns. So the trick I teach students is, hey, if these two inside numbers are the same, that means we can multiply the two separate matrices together. But when we look at this one in black, these two are not the same. So no, we could not multiply those together. When we go over to our second example, right? In matrix A, we're going to have 3 rows times 2 columns. And then in matrix B, we're going to have 2 rows by 4 columns. So when we look at the two inside numbers, these are the same. So we would be able to multiply these two separate matrices together. And when we multiply them together, another trick that I tell students is that the outside numbers are going to be the dimension to our new matrix, which I'll talk more about in the next part of this video. But when we go down to our green example, all right, we write the dimensions out: 2 rows, 2 columns times 1 row, 4 columns. Two inside numbers are not the same. No, we could not multiply matrix A and B that's in green. We go over to matrix, the fourth example, I should say, in red. And when we write our dimensions, we're going to have 2 rows by 2 columns for matrix A. And then for matrix B, we're going to have 3 rows by 3 columns. So again, when we look at the columns for matrix A and the rows for matrix B, they're not the same. So no, we couldn't multiply matrix A and B together in red. And in our last example, we have 1 row times 3 columns for matrix A. And then in matrix B, we have 3 rows by 3 columns. And when we look at these two inside numbers, they are the same. So yes, we could definitely multiply those two together. So in the second part of this video, we're now going to talk about how to know the new dimensions for the matrix that we create. Second part of this video now, guys, we're talking about the new dimensions for the matrix that we create. So because these two inside numbers are the same, that means we can multiply the two separate matrices together to form a new one. But the issue is, what is going to be the dimension? And like I said before, the dimension, or the trick to the dimension, is the outer numbers. So once we put these two together in order, meaning 3 by 4, our new matrix that we create is going to have 3 rows by 4 columns. And then when we come down to an example in blue, same thing. Those two inside numbers are the same, meaning that we can multiply the matrix together. So when I multiply matrix A and matrix B in blue, when we focus on these outside numbers, it tells me that my new matrix is going to be a matrix that is 1 row by 3 columns. And now that we understand that concept, in the next part, I'm going to break down how we're supposed to multiply the rows and columns to form our new matrix. In this part of the video, hope you guys have enjoyed it so far. We're going to show you guys exactly how to multiply for the new matrix that we create. So we're going to multiply the first row by column 1, then go back and multiply by column 2, column 3, and column 4. So that means I'm going to multiply 4 times 7, and I'm going to add that answer to 3 times 2. And once I do that, I'm going to get 28 plus 6, which should give me, let's see, 34. So this answer from row 1, column 1 goes in row 1, column 1. Now we're going to go back and multiply row 1 by column 2. So when I go back, I'm going to do 4 times 4 plus 3 times 1. And when I simplify, I'm going to get 16 plus 3. So 19 is going to go in row 1, column number 2. So now we're almost there. We're going to go back and do the same thing again. Row 1 times column 3. So we have 4 times 1 plus 3 times 3. So it's basically a pattern once we're multiplying, and this sometimes can be a tricky part from students. So I add my final answer, and I'm going to get 16. And then we're going to do this one more time for row 1, and we're now going to multiply by the last column. So I'll have 4 times 2 plus 3 times 2. And once we simplify, we're going to get 8 plus 6 to give us a final answer of 14. Now that we're done with row 1, we could just cross this out. Now we're going to do the same thing with row 2. We're going to multiply row 2 by column 1, column 2, column 3, and column 4. So once we start this process, we're going to have 8 times 7 plus 2 times 2. And we're going to get 56 plus 4. This is going to give us 60 in row 2, column number 1. Now we go back to row 2, and we're going to multiply 8 times 4 plus 2 times 1. And we're going to get 32 plus 2, which will give us 34 in row 2, column number 2. Now when we go back again, we're still in row number 2. We're going to do 8 times 1, because we're in column 3, plus 2 times 3. And we're going to simplify this to 8 plus 6. That should give us 14 for row 2, column number 3. And then for the last column, we're going to go back and multiply 8 times 2 plus 2 times 2, which will give us 16 plus 4, which will give us a final answer for 20 in row 2, column number 4. All right. So this is the trickiest part when it comes to multiplying matrices. And we can't forget now to go back and do the last column. So now we're going to do 5 times 7 plus 8 times 2. So this is going to give us 35 plus 16. When we add that together, 5 and 6 gives us 1. 11 is 3, 4, 41. This should be 51. Hopefully my math is good. So we multiply row 3, column 1, that gave us 51 as an answer. We're going to go back again and just repeat the process. And the biggest part is just staying organized. So we have 5 times 1. Ooh, not 5 times 1, I'm sorry. 5 times 4 plus 8 times 1, which will give us 20 plus 8. Get a final answer of 28. We're going to go back and do row 3 times column number 3, which would be 5 times 1 plus 8 times 3. This is going to give us 5 plus 24, which will be the final answer of 29. And then we're going to do 8 times, not 8, I'm sorry. Let's go back. Got to double check. 5 times 2 plus 8 times 2. And once we simplify, we're going to get 10 plus 16, which will give us a final answer of 26. So when we multiply matrix A and matrix B, right, we will get a 3 by 4 matrix, and this is how you multiply to get the new matrix. But before we go, we're going to do one more example with you guys. Final problem of the day now, guys. And like I said, if you like this video, smash the like button for us. Comment down below for future videos, or if you have comments or questions for this video. So we do our routine check, right? Two inside numbers are the same, meaning we can multiply. Once we multiply, we're going to get a new matrix that's going to have 1 row and 3 columns. And this is just to help us understand how the new matrix will look. So what I'm going to do is multiply this row by column number 1, column number 2, column number 3. And when we set this up, we're going to multiply 6 times 5, 0 times 6, and then 0 times 4, and that answer will go in row 1, column 1. So once we simplify, we have 0 times 6 plus 0 times 4. We're going to get 30 as a final answer in row 1, column 1 after simplifying. So now I'll go back. Now I'm going to multiply row 1 by column number 2. So let's cross out column 1. So we'll repeat the process. We have 6 times negative 2 plus 0 times negative 3 plus 0 times 6. Once we simplify, we're going to get negative. Oops, and just I made a little mistake, guys. This was negative, so let's just make sure. Negative 30 for row 1, column 1. All right, make sure you guys double check your work. All right, so negative 12 plus 0 plus 0. So in row 1, column number 2, we're going to have negative 12 as an answer. And then once we go back and repeat the process for column 3, we're going to have 6 times negative 4 plus 0 times negative 2 plus 0 times 5. And once we simplify, this is going to give us negative 24 plus 0 plus 0. We simplify and get an answer of negative 24. And this is how you multiply matrices, how you identify whether you can multiply them or not, and the new dimensions to the matrix that we create. Hopefully this video was helpful for you guys. If it was, smash the like button for us. And thank you guys so much for joining Algebra 1 with Mr. Peters today.